Hey growers, are you in the market for some new grow equipment? Well, look no further. Vivosun has you covered. From grow tents to lights and everything in between, Vivosun has it. Let's say you're a new grower and you're in a need for some help getting started. Well, Vivosun has put together some inexpensive grow kits just for you. From 5x10 grow kits down to 2x2 grow kits, they have you covered with all accessories needed to get you a quality harvest from whatever crop you're growing. Let's say you're an experienced grower and you're looking for some of the newest technology like time-lapse cameras. Well, they have that too. So for all your grow needs, Vivosun has something for your grow at a great price. And if you use my coupon code at checkout, you can save yourself an extra 15%. So why not give them a look today? You won't be disappointed. Welcome back to the Bak'n Show. In today's episode, we're going to go over the Vivosun tents. We're going to start here with the 4x4. And as you can see, look how bushy these girls are. These girls are doing fantastic. This is day 5 of week 2 of flower. The plants are full. Every time I come in here and defoliate, a week later, they're back to full again. I left the plants the way they're looking right now because I wanted y'all to get a look at them again. And then y'all seen these a couple weeks ago when I defoliated them, how cleaned up it was. Look at it now. It looks like I haven't touched them. So yeah, I left it that way so y'all can see how full these plants are getting, how well they're doing, and I'll also talk about humidity and in the leaves. Now with this many leaves in your tent, when you have plants this bushy, there's no way you can go the run. You could go this whole run and not defoliate. But you're keeping so many different bud sites covered up by keeping all of these big leaves in here. Every time you take one off, it opens up something down there. So look at how bushy this one little area is right here. But if I take a couple leaves away, start opening up bud sites. Look at that. And again, the plant is putting in so much energy trying to keep these big leaves alive. And they're just blocking bud sites. All this is going to be buds eventually, but if it doesn't get enough light, it's just going to be larvae stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I left the plants looking like this. Well, again, we're only in the second week of flower. Normally you want to defoliate around day 21 and do your lollipopping and do the same thing around day 42. That's a pretty safe zone. Then you don't have to be exact, but somewhere in that ballpark would allow the plants to recover from whatever you do to them without stunning the growth of other plants, especially here in flower. You don't want any stunted growth in flower because now the plants are developing what we're doing this for, the buds. So we want to maximize that. But again, if we keep all of these leaves there, like this size, the plants have to try to keep these alive in addition to build buds. It doesn't need all these leaves. So especially in tents, you have to get in here and take away some of these leaves, and it helps big time with airflow. Right now, I only have an exhaust fan going and one isolating fan out in the back. I have 2 additional fans. This is an oscillating fan that I'm gonna put over here in this corner so we can have air blowing in both directions. And then I'm gonna put this fan here down on the floor down here to get me more airflow down in the bottom. Because I'm definitely lacking airflow in this particular run. And if I don't do something about it here early in flower, I could be creating a problem later on. Powdery mildew and bud rot, for example. I stay on top of my IPMs, treatments of the plants, haven't seen any bugs whatsoever. And as you can see, the plants look very, very, very healthy. But again, we definitely have to get rid of some of these leaves because there's just way too many leaves in this tent. and it will definitely help with the lighting system in this hub. Now, when I'm bringing this up with the Vivosun, the hub is set up to control the humidity, the lights, the fans, everything. If you can hear, I don't know if you can hear this, my exhaust fan right now is on 10, or is at its max. Right, let me see where we at. Yeah, it's almost to max, but it's running like this strictly because it's a whole lot of humidity, 75% as you can see right there, inside the tent, and the tent door has been open for a while. And the reason why I can't get it down in that 50 ballpark is because we have way too many leaves in the tent. So we have to defoliate this. Actually, like I said, get more airflow in here, and that humidity will definitely drop. As you can see, the plants are doing great, and that's because this light is on point. And I need to fix this because I'm cantered just a little bit. Yeah, for a 400 watt light, this light is doing fantastic. As you can see, the plants are getting light from front to back, side to side. And we have about a good 10 inches from the side of this light to the doorway, the bars, the CFM bars. There's empty space here, no lights here. But the light that's here, I guess is angled down, that everything here on the side looks fantastic. Nothing is small, nothing is dying off. Normally when the plants aren't getting enough light, especially around here on the edges, this stuff here is underdeveloped. And everything here in the middle develops very well. Not in this case with this light here, and I'm kind of surprised. I have lights that are much bigger than this, and that cost much more than this, that just do what this light is doing. This light here is, I would say, my Scorpion R spec, which is 700 watt light. Now, granted, it's a little stronger light, HLG. The plants that I'm growing using that HLG light look just like this here, and it's some of the same strains. So for a 400 watt light, this light is extremely strong, and that spectrum that they have built into the light, the recipes, the seedling recipe, the veg recipe, and now the flower recipe, which I'm using now, it must be doing the trick. So great thing. I have nothing but good things to say about this Vivosun light. I was kind of, like I said, when I first took it on, I said 400 watt light. I'm kind of skeptical about it. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to run a 4x4 like it is doing right now. Granted, we haven't gone all the way through flower, so we want to see what the buds are going to eventually look like here at the end. But I'm definitely going to help the process out by defoliating, lollipopping some of the bottom of this up, and we'll see what we do in the coming weeks. This tent here is going to go 9 weeks, but so far so good. Zero issues, zero problems. Outside, it is just too bushy and too many of these big leaves like this here. So that's what we'll be doing right after this video is done. I'm gonna come in here. Y'all seen me defoliate in the past, so I'm not gonna bore y'all by putting y'all through that. But before we switch and look at the other Vivosun tents, we're gonna take a PPF reading of the light here. Now this light is right now on its max. So let's take a look at the readings. Dead center of the light, we're looking at 840, in the 840, 830 ballpark, which is real good. I can lower this light just a little bit if I needed to, but these plants are still in the stretch phase, so I expect them to get a little bit taller. But dead center, I'm at that 880, 890 ballpark, which is fine, because I don't really want to get, can you see that? Or should I put it up under here? Like that? See it? Okay, yeah. But yeah, I don't want this to get over 1,000 in here anyway, and the only way I can get to that is by lowering this light a little bit. And right now, I believe it's sitting in the perfect spot, because again, we're in the stretch phase, and out here on the wings, Now, obviously, we're going to drop off because we're not directly up under the light anymore, and the light on the wing is canted up. But as you can see, everything way out here is still getting solid numbers. We're over 300, and we're at the very edge of the tent, and there's no light directly above the sensor there. So we're still getting 300 on the very outsides of the tent. Thank you. Now, in the coming weeks, these plants should do nothing but get better and better. Right after, like I said, right after this video, I'm going to jump in here and clean this all up, get rid of all this stuff, get me more airflow through here, add the 2 fans. So next week, when y'all see this tent, it'll look a lot different. And also, in another week of growing, these bud sites here on the top will definitely start filling in nicely, and we'll start seeing where the buds are going to be at, getting a better look at them, so on and so forth. These front 3 here are the batch 47s, phenols 1, 2, and 3. And over here in the back here, we got the 2 plants are the Simple Jack and the Mighty Ho, both phenols number 6. And they're doing fantastic. Now that Mighty Ho phenol number 6, I'm also growing that in the 2x4 if you follow my videos, and a different run. That Mighty Ho phenol number 6 is growing in the 2x4 all by itself, and it's huge, huge. And that plant is almost in the week 7 of flower. I think in a couple days, it'll be going into week 7 of flower. And I'm pushing that to 9 weeks, and I expect to get a huge, huge harvest off that one plant. And that plant there, and I'm sure that's the Mighty Ho back there in that corner there, is the way she's growing. And I did super crop that when I pulled down some of the branches so it wouldn't take off and run all the way to the ceiling. I should get a big harvest off of this one here too. And that light there, that Mighty Ho back there in that other tent in the 2x4, is half the strength of this light. So, and it's doing fantastic. So I expect big things off of that one back there. Especially out for because I'm familiar with the 2 in the back. And these ones here across the front here, first time running them, don't know what to expect, but so far they look fantastic. Now the grower, Action Jackson, did tell me he ran these batch 47s, and out of, I think he said maybe 10 or 15, one of them hermed on him. So we're keeping an eye out and make sure none of these herm. So again, once we finish this video and I get in here and clean all these up, these front 3 here, I'll definitely keep an extra close eye on them to make sure we're not starting to get any pollen sacs developing on them. Because I don't want any herm plants, because I don't want any seeds. And definitely looking forward to what these things are develop in the coming weeks. So let's take a look at the last 2 Vivosun tents that I'm growing, and let's see what they look like. All right, over here in the Vivosun corner, we got the 2x4 over here on my right that house the Grow Peaceful buckets. And as you can see, these 3 buckets are doing fantastic. We got the erotic watermelon here on my left, the apple strudel here in the middle, and the craven here on my right. Now, it's funny, the erotic watermelon was always the slowest plant in the, once I put these in here, and they cracked up through the soil. This one here was always behind these 2 here. This one here took off first. This is the craving here on the end. And it was doing great, and it still is. The one in the middle here, the apple strudel, was coming up slowly behind this one here. But in the last week, 2 weeks, this apple strudel has definitely taken off. As you can see, she's a good, maybe 6 inches taller than this craven now. And again, she was always taller than that the erotic watermelon. The erotic watermelon flipped itself to flower, I'm gonna say a good week, 10 days after these 2 here. These 2 here are on pretty much the same schedule, but that one there is a little behind. The end date for this one is projected to be around April the 15th, this here on the end. This one here, April the 1st, and this one here, April the 10th. That's just projected days. I'm sure it's probably gonna run a little, I'm guaranteeing I'm gonna run these a little longer than the dates that I have on here. Probably at least additional week. so we can make sure we get maximum growth out of these plants. Now here, this one here in the middle is starting to eat a lot more than the other ones because we're starting to get some deficiencies in the leaves. Now, in the past, I've had run plenty of these Grow Peacefuls and had where they are starting to run out of nutrients, and that's just with some of the strains. This one here must be a heavy eater. And now granted, we still got plenty green in the leaf, but this, you can see that's a potassium deficiency there. So the plant did deep in the flower, and this happens, this is all very, very normal. It's nothing to be worried about in a situation like this, but you can tell this plant here could use just a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to add anything to the soil. I'm just going to let it rock and do its thing. And now if it starts getting really, really bad, so I'm starting to see something up here in the top developing, I'll go ahead and give it one shot or something, because we definitely want to maximize the growth of this plant here. And that's probably what I'm going to wind up doing. I didn't notice that I'm starting to get spots up here, and that's a calcium deficiency right there. So a little cow mag, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Maybe a little cow mag in the next feeding with a little recharge to amp it up a little bit. This one down here is starting to get a little bit on the craving here on the side. Starting to do the same thing down at the bottom, but it's nothing that's not expected. I mean, hell, we're almost in the middle of middle of March. And we got about a month to go with these here. So I definitely expected to start seeing little deficiencies develop because the plants are growing these nice buds. And it's a nice bud set on this right here. So in the coming weeks, we should have something good developing here. It's definitely looking good. I haven't touched any of them. They're starting to develop a nice little smell to them just by touching the stem. Little stem rub. Yeah, she got a little gas going on with her over here. But yeah, that's what these plants here look like. I got my PPF meter over here. So let's see what the light intensity is like. Now granted, up here, I expect it to be extremely high because this plant is, the top here, I'm gonna say is 6 inches from the light. And the light is turned all the way up, I believe. Let me check that. But right now, can you see that, Miss Koi Bacon? We got about a 950, and which is great. 950 is fantastic. If this plant stopped growing right here, and we can keep this light right at this intensity, this is fine. Let me check over here with this one here with the Craven. That was the apple strudel we checked first. Now the Craven, obviously is going to drop off because it's a few inches shorter, and that dropped off to the 530, 540 ballpark, which is fine. And it's 2x4, it's getting plenty light. You can see the growth on this Craven is doing better than the other two. And last but not least, and this is the erotic watermelon, and this one just flipped itself in the flower. And as you can see, is much further behind than the other two. And the max over here is in that let me level this out a little bit. 430, 440, maybe 450. Yeah, so that's what that looks like. These plants are doing great. Definitely should get a nice harvest out of them. I haven't had one yet. They didn't give me a pretty decent harvest, 3 ounces. I think maybe a couple of them was 2.5. But I did get a 4-ounce one out of there. A 4-ounce plant out of one of these runs. I forgot, it wasn't the Gigabyte. It might have been that last one, that Pound Dog we did. But let's take a look at this last 2x2 tent right behind me. And this is pretty much all the veg. Let Miss Koi Bacon get up in there. These are all the veg plants, and on the left side, the plants without a dome on top, they're all just cuts of the plants we've just looked at. Different phenos. When we flipped them to flower, these are the cuts from those. Now everything that's over with the domes on them, those are all seedlings. And those, I think we talked about those in the past. Those seedlings are the Bubba Whip and the female Fetal. Now, I do have a couple domes on these clones here, and I can pull them off now, because when I first put these clones here, these three here, and the root system wasn't that big yet. It was really, it was only a few roots coming out of the cube that we were using. So when plants are like that, when I first put them in, I put domes on those also. Let them stay like that for the first few days so the root system can get developed, and then start taking the tops off of them and letting them get air and harden themselves off. And as you can see, the plants look fine now, so those domes can go away altogether. But as for the seedlings on the right, I'll let those domes stay on there for at least another week or so. I have little vent holes in each one of those little plastic cups there, so they're getting the air. And I like to see how there's just a little haze to each one of the domes, so that's letting you know it's holding the humidity, and that's what we need the seedlings to be, in a higher humidity area. The tent itself stays fairly warm. I have a 4-inch fan, a Vivosun fan blowing here on the side just to get me some air circulation. And I also have humidity coming in through that tube that you see there from the humidifier. So yes, we try to keep the humidity up in this tent in that 75 ballpark, and it's pretty easy to do so with the humidifier blowing that in here continuously. But these plants here are doing great, no complaints whatsoever. Few deficiencies building up, but these are clones. They'll be just fine. Once they get transplanted out of these cups into the 1 gallons, and then from the 1 gallons up to whatever their ending pots will be, probably a 3 or 5 gallon, depending on what tent they're going to the final tent that they're going to wind up in. But that's all I have for you in this week's episode. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next one, stay baking.